All right, everyone. Thank you for coming up today to this amazing webinar that we are recording. This is almost one of our last webinars for 2021. And I call this webinar from understaffed to fully staffed in the new year 2022. This year obviously has been one of the most challenging for everyone. And I wanted to try to wrap up this year with the framework that I've been working on for the last year, trying to perfect this process a lot so we can really succeed at hiring. Definitely, there's less people applying for these jobs, uh, but there's still people out there. It's just harder to find them. And I want to say that there is hope, and there's still good people out there looking for work. But definitely, there is less people. So this has forced us to really um, has forced us to really become very effective at what we do and avoid wasting time, resources in the process. And I want to share with you guys what I've done here in this slideshow. So let's move on here. So today's talk is basically the framework and just some Q&A. Have some good questions at the end so we can help you answer them. And where we are today in the hiring space, and it's obviously everyone's talking about the great resignation, and yes, we're in the great resignation. A lot of people keep changing their plans, their strategies about their life, their priorities, and working in blue collar workers has become less attractive, and people have prioritized other things. So this makes us as business owners try to increase the value of our service and the way we pay them as well in order to bring better people um, into our companies. Uh, but there's still people out there. We just need to show exactly what's our job about and really help them love and discover the company that they should work for. So the great resignation is happening in all segments, but more noticeable in the blue collar market. Millennials and Gen Z, which is people under 35, or hiring them is very risky at this point because they're changing a lot on what they should be doing. So I recommend that you try to hire people that are kind of 35 years or older, that you're going to have more people that are more stable, that are really clear on what they want out of their life. And most of them should have already some kid responsibilities, maybe a house, and things of that nature that really forces them to work and not wander around and see if they can switch jobs back and forth. So I have seen even people at the 50-year-old mark, which is people that are already kind of set on their ways, and it's very important. And I really like that group of people. Before, years ago, I wasn't giving them a chance, but now I'm really giving a chance to people in 50, 55, and I've seen a lot of good results in that group. Um, Obviously, there's less people available to work, and there's competing companies like Amazon offering to pay college tuition 100%, which is outrageous. So the competition is fierce for the labor out there, but not everybody wants to work packing boxes repetitively every single day. So that's when our jobs and other home services uh, jobs become attractive. All right, so um, let's discuss what's a framework. A framework, it's a basic structure, a plan, or a system or concepts, customs, or rules. But in essence, it's something. I think the best definition is a system that you follow strictly and you don't deviate from it. Typically, this is what gets us the most and better results, and also allows us to teach it to other people. Sometimes uh, we we don't have these systems in place, and whenever we want to go on vacation and we want to delegate, typically we can't. Why? Because just you know how to hire people, just you knew how the process works. So when you have a framework and you have it printed in your office, people will follow that, and that's what's going to help you become, more an absentee owner eventually, and not have to be every day looking at interviews and talking to people. And this is what I've been doing lately for about 10 years, is just managing the processes, managing the systems, and that's where you really start to grow and scale these businesses to hit a million, 2 million, depending on your how far you want to go. All right, so this is the framework. I called it the hiring funnel framework, and it consists of 7 steps. These 7 steps have been tested, proven, researched in my own company, and definitely there's things to improve. I'll love to hear any feedback from you guys. I think this is probably at a 90%. I think it can be improved still a little bit more, but based on my experience, research, and also looking at other successful cleaning owners that I know, that are in a 1.5 million, $2 million plus, they always have a frame or a funnel to follow, and this is what I kind of made it for you guys. So the first step obviously is the acquisition part, is getting people to apply. Then the screening, which is discovering the right person. Interviewing, which is clarify what they're getting into. Training, teach them a model to follow. Onboarding, start them right. Management, monitor their performance. And 7 will be referral, which is people inviting other people. So I'm gonna get into each of these points specifically. Okay, this was, oops, sorry, let me go back. I think I have a, no, it's here, yeah. Okay, so the acquisition part, it's getting people to apply. And I hear a lot of people complaining on the groups and in general that they're not getting applicants, their quality of applicants is bad, uh, etc., etc. And everything really starts at the stage of acquisition. In that usually is the ads that you put out there. It would be Indeed, Facebook, ZipRecruiter, Google, job boards, any kind of place where you distribute your application form or your ad. Everything starts at that point. If that specific place where they land afterwards, when they click the link and they land, that landing page is your first impression towards your job. Most companies that I see today have very poorly designed landing pages, which is affecting their performance of their ads or what they're spending out there. So typically, most people have pixelated images, forms that have issues. They have not, call to action is not clear. They don't explain well the job. They don't take time to explain what's in it for them. They just put, we need people with these specific requirements, and then a button to apply. So that used to work 10 years ago. Nowadays, millennials and other people are looking exactly what's in it for me in the job. And I would say 80% of the companies that I talk to every day, most of them, their jobs pages really suck. And unfortunately, most people don't put attention to that. They always just put attention to whatever the customer sees. But remember that we are um, a staffing company that happens to clean houses. So our most important way to grow our company is to recruit new people. So if your landing page is not great, your income, the way you grow your company is affected, is impacted negatively. So I really advise you that you take a look at, you could look at our website, gmates.com/jobs, and look at what we've done there. We've invested a lot of time, money, effort into that page, because that's the money making page. The domain, the home page, which is for your customers, obviously that's important too. So those two areas have to be very well done. And again, I say 80% of people have very bad pages, and it's not exciting. So I really encourage you to really look at your landing page, because that's exactly where the first impression happens. And if you have a lot of traffic that you're paying in any platform, and then they land on your page and it's really an ugly page and is not well designed, then that drops the percentage of people that convert from traffic to applicant. And remember, in the step of acquisition, the goal is to increase the conversions, meaning, from every 100 applicants that go to your page, increase that
Ahí estamos
percentage
hablando hoy.
the
Ay,
highest that you can.
me avisa cuando
That's
lleguen las
gonna
cosas.
allow um, that's gonna allow you to really get the most value of your money, of your marketing dollars. In that page, you want to clarify what's in it for them. It has to be crystal clear. You really want to know, as an applicant, what's the pay, what the benefits, what's the schedule, how I get paid, how do I work, how do I get my jobs, who supplies the products. Everything has to be clear. Who drives the car, or if I have my own car, or if I join a team of two, three, four, whatever is your model, you want to make sure you explain that. I see that sometimes we get applicants from other companies saying, well, I used to drive for the company, and I don't want to drive anymore. I would like to clean houses, but I don't want to drive anymore. And you happen to have a solo model business which requires driving, and then you lost a person because they were not informed that you are solo teams and they need to drive their own cars. So all of those points are critical to really have the right person apply, so then that increases the conversion rates, and then when you meet them in person, everything starts to make more sense. So let's look at these sample pages. Typically, I went into different pages, and these are typical examples like broken page links that don't take you anywhere. So if you're driving traffic, spending money on ads, and you land into a broken link, you wasted all your money. Another big mistake is not collecting enough information. In this example, for example, page, they're just getting name, phone, and email, and a resume. You can't do anything with resume really. You have to have exactly all the details if this person fits the job criteria or not. So I understand this form is probably done to really capture a quick lead and then call them and try to get him in the process. But you don't have time to call everyone. You really have time to just to talk to the right people. So if you have, I don't know, 100 people that fill this form, and 80% of them are worthless, and you spend a lot of time looking and chatting with them and interacting with them, you wasted 80% of the time that you had to find the right person. You spend that time, you wasted that time talking to people that are not qualified. So if you have a form that is asking 3 to 4 questions, you're not gonna recruit great people, because you're gonna have to screen each person and spend time getting the information. So your form has to be complete, has to have all the questions that you need to know, has to be very specific, it has to be precise, and at the end, when you get the application, you need to know if this person is qualified or not. Simple as that. You don't need a lead. You need an application. So make sure your form is thorough. Uh, Another big issue I see in some forms is the poor quality of the web experience. So, for example, this particular application had 37 steps. It's I think it's Typeform is this particular company that offers this type of forms, and basically the first step is your name, then enter last name, enter your email, enter your address, enter, and then that takes you to 37 questions, 37 steps. You're never gonna finish that. I know this owner wants to be thorough and have a good, you know, get all the right answers. But if you make it impossible to fill, I mean, 37 steps, clicks is just, it's, you're gonna drop the amount of conversions tremendously. I don't believe our forms have to be complicated and very long, but they don't have to be either too short and too simple because you're in the extremes. You want to be right in the sweet spot in the middle where you have a good experience. They can move fast through the application, but the questions are specific to your industry and are specific to your business. And you, at the end, get a good quality application with good answers. That's going to help you really make a good decision. Uh, Somebody's telling me here that they don't see the slideshows. Are you guys seeing the slideshows? Just if you wanna please confirm in the chat if everybody's seeing the slideshows. Some people know. Okay, yeah, some people see. Yeah, most people. Okay, perfect. All right. Maria can't see it. I don't know why, but I'm sharing my screen. So, but you're gonna get a copy of it. Thank you, guys. All right. So make sure that you're again, you're in that sweet spot of the form. Not too many questions, not just few questions, because you're not gonna get value in either or. And that is some of the problems with Indeed. Is Indeed allows you to make the application so easy, um, where people just upload a resume and then they click apply, 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 apply to. They can apply within a couple of clicks to a lot of jobs. So that's gonna help you. That doesn't help you. That helps Indeed get more applications that they can sell you. But at the end, those are low quality applicants. So I always recommend to redirect applicants to your homepage, jobs page, and have you fill your form, because remember, you're paying for your lead, you're paying for that employee, and you want to capture that information in your own system, not to stay on Indeed. And when you control the whole experience application, that gives you a better result. I have done the application kind of like if I was a cleaner, and in reality it's very easy to apply. So I can apply to 50 jobs in a couple of 10-15 minutes, and it's just a matter of say apply, apply, apply. But I'm not taking the time to really read the job description and really take it seriously. So that's why you get a lot of applications but very low quality. And the way we change that is by redirecting them to your website with your form, and then make them fill that form. Okay. um, Typically, and I don't want to say nothing bad about any any website, but the reality is that everybody has the same stock photography. uh, I mean, I will say 80, 70, 80% of the companies have the same photos, and that's not good. That's affecting your brand, your image. And especially look at this lady. I'm sure you've seen this lady in many websites. She's the most popular house cleaner in America. She's in every single website, and you know it's not doing any good for your business. You got to make sure you take your own photos, hire a photographer in your local area, grab your team, people working, people driving, people cleaning, talking, smiling, and take all these photos and put them in your website. It's very affordable, and if you can pay anyone at this point, just grab your phone and take your photos. But do not use stock photography. That looks very bad on our businesses. So you want to raise the quality of your website, and that's going to raise the amount of customers you get and the amount of cleaners that you get. So it's very important that you stop using stock photography. Be original. Yeah, thank you, Maria. All right, that was number one. Let's go to screening, which is step number two. So screening really it's about finding who's the right applicant, because we can have 10 people that are applied, but we need to discover who's the right person for this job, for this particular company. So I recommend that you use some type of scoring in your screening process. Use knockout questions. Make sure that your references are checked. All of that is very important. Sometimes because we need people urgently, we skip the process of calling those references. It happened to us several times, and we said we need to have at least one reference of a job before we hire anyone. So it's better to wait a little bit than to hire the wrong person and then quit in 2 weeks and then start the whole process of onboarding, training, and offboarding. That process takes so much time that we really don't want to waste. I normally calculate a $1,500 investment when I have um, from ads to manager time to trainer time, supplies, payment of the employee to train, payment to the trainer to train, and then if that person quits, then paying an HR manager to offboard this person, sign documents. All of that, I calculate that investment about $1,500. So every time I hire the wrong person, I burn $1,500. So if you put that in perspective, you have to do the right hiring. And I'm going to explain more how we do that. So when you have this person or during the screening process, you want to make sure that you explain exactly what's in it, what's expected of them. And we typically have this document I'm going to show you in a second, which is exactly the job description and what is expected of this person. If they say, I'm not sure about this, automatically they're out because I know they're going to quit. So, and one of the also the things that we enforce a lot is, are you an organized person? Can you commit to a full-time schedule? And I typically recommend and we ask is like, hey, look, we are looking for people that want to be at least a year here. So if you're not planning and to be here a year, I don't really can interview you anymore. We want to make sure we get committed people to say, yes, I'm here for the long term. I'm not planning to move. So you really want to get them to commit verbally and then in paper. But that is critical to making sure that they have the job fit. It's a good job fit with them. So typically the pre-interview process happens, it's usually a 10-minute call, usually by a virtual assistant or an HR manager that quickly verifies the data uh, before they come into the office. We are offering Zoom or in-person interviews. But when we see somebody in the funnel that looks great, hasn't booked an appointment automatically with Calendly, and they're there just in the funnel, but they haven't booked, we call them. We go through the interview and ask them, hey, why didn't you book a call? You seem to be qualified. And then we try to get more answers at that point. If we like what we hear and we verify, they can work in the US, they have a driver's license, etc., then we send them a calendar link of the company so they can finish the booking process. With PipeHire, you can allow people to automatically book that interview on themselves if they are qualified. But again, some people do not do that because they don't know sometimes how to use the Calendly system, or they're afraid of that, or they're unsure when they can come and see you. But I have a person uh, daily for an hour. She's a VA, 1 hour a day. Her job is to push those people that kind of didn't book an appointment, call them, ask them questions, and try to move them to the next stage of interview. That person, basically that's her only job, and that is a way for you to push more people to the interview, and then obviously that people will eventually become employees. So that is something that I've been doing, and it's been helping a lot. Plus, I have the HR manager that is only focused on hiring. I will explain more than that in the next slides. So again, the goal with this screening process is to book appointments with the right applicant. Doesn't do any good to book an appointment with somebody that is not fully qualified for the job. So let's move on here. All right, this is the actual interview question, the actual interview. Now you have them face to face or in Zoom, and we usually start by asking them about their dreams, their goals, where they see themselves in a few years, and we want to see what's in their head, what they're thinking. This is important to know because sometimes they say, "Well, I'm here to I moved to Dallas for the, I want to be here for the next 6 months. I want to make some money, go back to my own town." Automatically we know this person is here for 6 months, not a good fit at that point. So you always want to open up the interview with talking about them, to tell exactly why they are here, why they apply to this company, and what's their goals and dreams. Uh, some might say, I'm here because I'm studying at night and I need a day job. Some might say, I just need to save for my house. So whatever information from their personal life that you get is very important because it's gonna give you a lot of clues of where this person is going in their life, and that's gonna help you make a better decision. If I hear a lot of, I don't know, I just need money, I need to cover these bills. Yeah, we all need to cover bills, but I really want to hear people with goals and dreams that are clearly defined, because those people, when they wake up every day, they're going to be thinking about their dream and their goal and not just bills. So you really want to bring people that are really, dreaming on something, thinking of becoming something better than themselves. And that's usually the people that end up putting all the effort in the job. I have an example, an employee of mine that she's building a house in El Salvador, and that's her goal, and she's making good money, saving, sending her money to her country. And when we meet, we talk about that goal, and she says, I'm almost done. I'm building that place for my family, and that translates into somebody that doesn't miss work, doesn't give excuses, and shows every day to the job. So the goal part and the dreams is very important. So try to dig into that and get the most information that you can. Now, when we talk about that, then that's probably a 5-10 minute time. Then you want to talk about the attendance. The attendance policy is something that I've implemented few months ago, and this attendance policy is a one page that is the most important part of the interview. And we don't move forward to the next part of the interview if this is not signed and clear and read by that person at that point. It's not a paper that, oh, take this paper and come back to me with it. No, you read it now, you ask the questions, and you sign the document. If there's an issue with any of those points, we're done. We cannot continue. One of the, critical things in this document, which I'll share with you in a second, is, they get penalized to minimum wage if they quit. So if they quit within less than 2 weeks, or they don't tell us anything, any payment that's due to them at the end, it will be minimum wage based on the state that I am. Each state changes, obviously. And there's also something called a $250 training fee if somebody quits in less than 90 days. That training fee helps us cover the cost of training, and paying the trainers and paying the managers. So if somebody leaves the company in less than 90 days, you're gonna get at least $250 back from the last paycheck. Obviously, you gotta make sure that you pay, as our lawyer said, you have to pay always at least the minimum wage for their hours that they work. So obviously, check with your lawyer about this. But in my state, it's okay, it's legal, and it's a paper they sign, and it's pretty clear. I want to show you that paper here. It's called pre-boarding attendance policy. And it says, you're joining a company that visits clients at their homes and operates 80% of pre-scheduled appointments Monday through Friday. So showing up for work is the most important factor of the job. So then we cover job fit, we cover the schedule, we cover personal time off, we, when leaving the job, we have here most informed 2 weeks, must return all the equipment, and if you quit in less than 90 days, a $250 fee will be deducted. Obviously, I have this whole document written, and if you want it, a copy, I have it in Spanish and English. Obviously, you can change whatever you want, but this document, um, it's been life changing because this is really all we need to talk about. You know, that's that's it. I need people to show up to the job, and that's the reality. And if you cannot show up to job every day, there's nothing else we can talk about. So this document, I made them read on the spot and really enforce. Look, this is the most important thing. If nothing of this happens, then there's no work here. If this happens, then good. We're good to go. And this is really why I implemented this is because people need to have this in their face the first time on the interview. Nothing else matters. You want to get this right on their face. And if they say, yes, I understand, everything looks good, no questions, or yeah, I have this question, but you want to enforce this and you want to make sure this is on their face and is clear before you do anything else. So you spend 10-15 minutes on their goals, dreams. They spend 10-15 minutes on this page at the most. Then you're in 30 minutes of your time. If all good is good, then you might end up into an hour with somebody that's really clear on this. Or if they say, I'm sorry, I really can't be here every day. I have an issue with this. Okay, thank you. You spend 30 minutes, not a full hour. Now, you get this document back, and then you continue on the interview. So let's go back here. Um, Oops, sorry. So if everything looks good, um, oh, I was gonna say that you guys, if you want that document, you can send me a direct message on Facebook, and I'll send it to you, or send an email to support@PipeHRM, and we'll send it to you. It's a template that you can fill in with your information. The good thing about this is that I've seen a drop of people quitting in less than 90 days. I've seen an improvement of retention by implementing this document. Because in the past, we used to have this in our operations manual. It's like, look, take this page, read it, come back, and let us know if you have any questions. And they don't read. Cleaning techs don't read. Plain and simple as that. They just don't read. So we force them to read it right on the spot, and that is the way we really get the point across. Otherwise, next time that they quit, you're like, but we explained all about this, and like, sorry, I didn't read it. So that's why you don't put it in your handbook anymore, or you could, but you want to get it in front of them, and that's the first thing we want to clarify. If all that looks great, you want to move into the situations question, where you want to know more how they react to everyday situations. You want to know if they're in chaos in their own life. You want to get eventually a score of each of these interviews. There's several templates out there that can teach you the scoring method for the in-person interview. Uh, but the situations question is really to find out if this person is prepared to deal with a flat tire, a nanny that doesn't show up to their job or doesn't take care of their kid. You want to find out if they are in chaos. That's really what we want to find out. If some of you watched the Netflix series The Maid, which I did, it was an amazing series. We'll identify with that as like that's everyday life in this business, but it gives us a new perspective of how their life is. And I remember when I was cleaning at age 20, you know, at that age I didn't have kids, but now that I have kids, anything can happen, and you have to drop the job on the spot. So um, my recommendation is that you look into these situations questions to find out if they're in chaos, because if you bring somebody that's in chaos to your company, she's gonna bring their chaos into your company. And obviously nobody's perfect, everybody has problems, but there's a difference between organized people that are that have systems, they have an organized life to kind of get ahead in their day to day, and they want a job to continue moving that progress. And there's a big difference with people that are just uh, in chaos trying to really get ahead, but they're having marital issues, kids issues, drinking problem. I mean, you could get a lot of issues that make a chaotic life, and that person is gonna eventually drop the job, versus somebody that has obviously problems but is organized, is focused on trying to get out of these issues. So you want to identify, are you hiring somebody with chaos or somebody that's organized and is trying to get ahead? And I've identified that every time we hire somebody that's in chaos, boom, it fails. They fail. Why? Because when your life is in chaos, your personal life, your finances, all of that, eventually it hits you in your face. And it's hard to accept, but yeah, we cannot hire those people. It's just too much work, too risky, too expensive to hire the wrong person. So try to get that into your, who's in chaos, who's organized. Very important, very very important. So the goal of this stage of number three is to increase successful trainees. So we want to send these people to then train. All right. Let's move on to the next stage here. Oh, excuse me. Still part of the stage three here is then this person looks good at the interview. Then you want to run their e-verify, which is free. Um, Background check and motor vehicle report. I see a lot of people saying, "No, I don't want to pay for a motor vehicle report," but the reality is that the motor vehicle report is critical to see the full picture of somebody's life, because the background check tells you obviously all the legal things and things that happen in their life. Yeah. But the motor vehicle report tells you how they behave on the road. If they have tickets, they have DUIs, they have speeding. So when you have these two sides of their life, it gives you a really good picture of who you're hiring. And it happened to me. I hired somebody that was back then, probably 3 4 years ago. I didn't check the motor vehicle report, and this person had a lot of speeding issues and tickets. But because their background check didn't show that, I hired her. But eventually, this person disappeared, uh, and literally for 3 months, I never heard from her. We eventually called. We tried to call her family members. No one responded. Just completely gone. Like somebody just took her and disappeared with her. But 3 months, 4 months after, we get a call from their family members and say, "Hey, sorry, I just wanted to return the equipment, the tools, the supplies." And I said, "What happened to her?" She said, "Well, she went to jail because she had a lot of speeding tickets. That she got pulled over, and then they took them to jail, and she couldn't communicate for 3 4 months, and that's why she disappeared for that time." So I learned my lesson that even if somebody's not a criminal, but they have issues with driving, it's another problem. So you want to make sure that you have the motor vehicle report of this person every time you hire somebody. It's, it's a bit of extra cost, but it's critical to get the full picture of somebody. So make sure you remember this story. And obviously, when all that looks great, boom, we're gonna send them to train. And obviously, you want to have 2 to 3 trainers to rotate them. Um, why? Because if you train if you have the same trainer training every week, they're gonna, get tired, obviously. But we have done it, and we had to sometimes. But the ideal is to have 2 to 3 trainers rotating, and that helps, let them rest, and then somebody else picks up and helps. Now, something that we've made a big mistake is to think of, okay, this is a good cleaner, they should be a good trainer, let's send them to train. And the reality is that it's not. That's a big mistake that we all make, is thinking that if somebody's a good cleaner, they should be a good trainer. And the reality is that good trainers obviously have to have great cleaning skills, but they have to have great people skills. and they have to love and teach people. They love to have, help others. So don't force anyone to become a trainer. They have to raise their hand to say, I want to help other people. I want to help them make good checks. I want to help them grow in their career. So it's very important that you don't force them. They have to kind of raise their hand and tell you they are interested in training other people. And we usually pay them $25 to $30 a day, so they can make 125 a week. If they do it 2 times a month, that's about 300, yeah, 250 a month extra that they can make. Plus, by day 3 or 4, excuse me, day 4 or 5, we do five day training. By day 4 or 5, they should be helping more than being somebody that's just taking time. They should be helping the trainer get faster through the homes. All right, so that's part three. Part four, uh, training, the actual training. So we have to teach them a model to follow. There's a lot of methods out there for cleaning. There's not one perfect, but it's a matter of using the one that fits your business the best. So we have something called video training. The video training. Um, I'm sorry, my Instagram stopped here. Okay, so we have video training, and we ask them to watch our videos that we recorded before getting to hands-on training. Why? Because we want to make sure they have a clear photography of what they have to do before they get to actual training or hands-on training. And this shortens the training process. It speeds up the process. So, it helps the trainer, makes it a little easier on them, and they don't have to explain every single thing because they already seen it in video and they hear it also. So when you hear and you listen, when you hear and you watch something, there is more reception of that. And there's video trainings that provide certifications, little certificate that they can provide to you once they finish. We like to do this as much as possible to make them finish the videos before they get to hands-on training. That way we get better result. And we've seen that if we had 3 4 good interviews and we don't know who's gonna be the first one to be training, we say to those four, hey, go and watch those videos and send me the certificate. So what's gonna happen is that some people are gonna drop. It's like they never watch the videos. So there you go. That's a filter at the same time. And then 2 people completed it. Maybe one completed in 1 to 2 days. And then who's the hungrier person to start training. So you start with that person. Um, we recorded our own videos about a year ago, but this September we recorded professional videos with professional cameras, lighting, and that training. It's going to be available next February or March. If you eventually want to hear about it, we'll let you know. But it's going to be training that was created with my wife. That she went to film school and she brought the whole team, cameras, lights, and professional people to do this. So it's gonna be a really good training system, and it's gonna show them how to really clean, not just model things. There's actually cleaning, and that's something that's coming for next year. They're already recorded. We're editing those videos now. All right, so they move on to hands-on training. The hands-on training obviously is going to the houses with the person and training and cleaning. So you want to track a daily an evaluation of how they do in speed. Yeah, we have like 5, 10 things they have to evaluate every day. Speed, cooperation, product knowledge, attitude, collaboration. There's about 10 of them. I don't have them top of mind, but daily the trainer qualifies the trainee, and that is critical because you want to see a progress every day. You want to obviously track the time on the app, whichever system you use, and always they gotta know before they go that they might get minimum wage if they quit before the training week finishes. Now, this evaluation on a day to day, the trainer fill this on a daily basis. You can use like a Google form, and they enter every day what happened and the score for, let's say, attitude. Attitude is uh, A, B, or C, and then they score each of those things. So the idea is that by day 4 or 5, you can start to see all A's or A plus in the different areas, um, and then that's gonna help you as a manager evaluate if this person really improved during the week. But if you see at the end a lot of B's or C's, mm, then you know that training didn't went too well, or this person really is not good a fit for the job. So if you need this daily report, or the form that I use, just direct me, send me an email and or a Facebook message, and I'll share to you how I do it. So this has to be monitored daily, and all the office staff should see this. Why? Because the scheduler is looking for new people, right? And she's excited that we got two people training, but she starts to see that, oh gosh, all C's, C's, D's. She knows she's not going to have a new person next week starting. But if contrary, there's A's, B's, A plus, she's going to know, good, I'm going to start scheduling some jobs for next week for this person. So it gives them a heads up of what's going on with that person. Uh, and then obviously the goal here of this stage is increase service quality and reduce complaints. That is the goal of this. All right, let's move on to step 5. Step 5 is really get them started right. Um, and by that I mean that every paper that needs to be signed or completed is signed, and that's going to increase the likelihood of, if they ever try to do a claim or a unemployment claim, which has happened to us, you have everything paper written, signed, and you're protected. So um, one of the changes that I did recently to our business model was to have a dedicated HR manager. That's her only focus is to hire, manage, and onboard and offboard people. Um, and that's it. She doesn't have to manage complaint. I mean, nothing that else in the office is needed. We just have one person doing exactly that job. Why? Because focus moves the needle. When you're scattered, you don't accomplish results. And because hiring is what grows the business, then that person needs to be focused on this specific job. That person cannot be training, cannot be doing, I don't know, customer service, sales. You're gonna distract this person from doing the most important job of the company, which is hire people, fire people, manage people. So this person works 3 days a week, uh, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and her only job is to do that. And that is the way you start to really hire people every week. And that's the rhythm that we want to get into. Because if we can hire every week, let's say 4 people a month, most of the time we're going to end up with two or one quality applicant or employee that we're going to last a couple of years in the company. So if you do that and you grow by 12, 15 good employees a year, then obviously you know that you will be, a million dollar company when you hit about 15, 18 employees. And then if you double that, you're going to be a $2 million business if you're growing every month in employee count. Obviously, there is some marketing required from your side to support that job, but that's for another webinar. So I want you to really encourage that HR manager position, and that's really what's been changing lately, and it's been improving our process a lot. In the past, we didn't have that position before COVID. hiring was a lot easier. You guys know that, but now that's her only focus. All right. So the paperwork, it's has to be signed. It could be DocuSign, could be in paper, but it has to be very well explained. This usually will take an hour to hour and a half, and make sure you protect this in a file cabinet or online, but make sure that all that is in your cabinets protected. And it's important, obviously, clarity of what they're signing. One of the important documents in that paperwork, it's one that is called wage reduction authorization. In the wage reduction authorization is where you have that clause that says that you will deduct $250 from training fee if they quit in 90 days. And you need to have that signed, because if they ever go to your state workforce commission or unemployment office, you're gonna have the paper that say that they signed that document, and that's proof and that you're good to go. So um, all right, let's move on to the next step here. STEM products and supplies. We usually like our trainer to do that, supply them with the products, the supplies. They have to sign a document with what they received. Anything lost or missing, they will have discount on their final paycheck. Obviously, there's things that get just normal wear and tear that don't matter, sponges, dusters. But if they don't come back with the vacuum and say, I forgot the vacuum, then sorry, you have to bring the vacuum to get your final paycheck, or there will be discount deducted from your paycheck. Typically, most people, we have to deduct something because they don't bring it. They lost it, they steal it, I don't know. So very important that in this onboarding process, uh, the person comes out with all the tools, supplies, and is ready to go. And the goal with this step 5 is the increase of successful onboardings. If we increase that successful onboarding, most of the time we're going to increase, obviously, the retention of this employee. All right, moving along to number 6, management, which is basically monitor their performance. We always think the hardest part is um, finding, hiring them, but we always forget that this is, we have the coins with two sides, and one side of the coin is hiring, and the other side of the coin is management, and we often forget about that. So we like to track these three things mainly: attendance, complaints, and birthdays and anniversaries. Most people that I talk to daily are not tracking attendance. They say, well, we don't, we just have a spreadsheet but we forget, or we have a whiteboard but we forget. And this is critical to the success of your company. If you're not tracking that, you're gonna eventually have issues with attendance. And if they don't show up to the job every day, there's lost revenue. So you want to make sure that every day you're tracking attendance, no matter what. They have to receive a text every time they're absent, so they know exactly their attendance status, if they have X days left of their absence maximum, how many days left of vacation, and we do that here. This is a simple photo of it, but we usually take a photo of our attendance tracking and pipe hire and then send it to them via text. Our goal is to eventually make that automatically, sending a text of what's left, but this is basically how it looks like. Basically, a new employee starts with 0 days used of 5, 0 days of personal, and obviously 0 days or 8 maximum absence. So this is a new employee. Then a good standing employee will never go over the limits, right? So 5 vacation max, used 1 day of the 5 personal, and she was absent 2 days out of the 8 days. Then a terminated employee has used all their vacation, typically has gone all the way over the personal time allowed, and then has been absent a lot. So PipeHeart allows you to track this, And you can track anywhere that you want, but make sure that you are tracking and then you're sending this every time that they're requesting days off or they call because they don't want to show up to the job. And one of the things that's critical is that when they say, not showing up today, and the person who picks up the call or is texting with the employee sends them this, when they hit the maximum absence, the manager or the person who's on the phone will say, well, you can miss today, but this will be your last day. You'll have to come back with the products and supplies to give you your final paycheck, or you can work today and continue working. When you put that very clear on them, it's gonna be they're gonna think about missing work more. So um, we really have enforced this in this year even more because we decided to not run our business with chaotic people. So if somebody's creating chaos, no matter how good you are, I'll let you go. I just don't want to bring more stress into my life by having somebody that's constantly being absent, constantly asking for days off, vacations, etc. And we might do exceptions here and there when there's something really of very critical, something related to family, debts, or anything that's really uh, serious. But we stay pretty solid with this. And what we've seen is by sharing this image every time they request a day, uh, we've seen a decrease in the amount of requests that we get for days off because they are now conscious of how many days they got left in the year. So this is how we use this. We track complaints and compliments as well. We send them a text message every time somebody complains or gives a compliment, and they can see exactly who's declined and what they said. Very important because sometimes they think they're doing a good job and they're not, or sometimes they are, doing a great job and we're not telling them enough that they're doing a great job. So you have to send compliments and complaints no matter what to the employee so they can exactly know what's their performance every day. Don't wait a week or a month to meet them and say, look, this is your complaints. You want to send this every day as they happen in the week because that's going to start to correct their behavior and you're going to see an improvement in quality. Keep a leaderboard. Very important to keep a leaderboard. Who's your top employee to the worst employee? That's gonna help your dispatcher know exactly who's the person to be sending to your top clients. So that is that on complaints and compliments. As far as birthdays and anniversaries, it's very important for company culture, and most owners failed on this. I was one of those. For I created my own calendar, but things happen, and the reality is that I'm not every single day watching and being on top of these employees. So what we did is on Pipehire we have a dashboard of all the birthdays that are coming, all the anniversaries that are coming, and we can directly in there just click and congratulate them every day directly through Pipehire via text message. Obviously, that's a tool that you can use, or you can just put a calendar and then call them every time. It's important that also we get a notification when somebody's birthday is the day off. So very important we get that email, and then we know whose birthday is today. And so you have two tools, the reminder and then you have the way to send a message, and that's gonna basically help you keep those things alive. um, this builds that recognition and culture that we're trying to create as much as we can. The goal with all this management of performance is, increase employee retention. If we're doing a good job at hiring and being good managers, we should be looking at 3 to 5 years the rate or retention of an employee. 5 years is pushing it. I had employees, very few employees at 5 years, but if we're doing a good job, 3 years should be a good number if we're doing a good job in all areas of our business. But This is usually, if they're making a good paycheck and they feel appreciated and they feel they have control of their attendance, they feel well working and belonging to your company, you should get 3 years out of an employee. So that is a baseline for you to keep in mind. Um, all right, and the last step is step 7, which is inviting others, referrals. So when an employee loves their work, they will help you recruit new workers. I've seen this happening all the time. And usually before COVID, we were doing 250 per person. They lasted 3 months. Now we increase it to 400, and somebody that lasts more than 6 months now. And I've seen people in other industries reaching going up to $1,000. So this obviously depends on your finances, depends on how desperate you are. But the goal is that when you do a great job in the prior step of management, then you're gonna have better retention. And when they love the work, they bring other people. They bring their friends. They bring family members, which usually most of the time I will say those are some of the best applicants because the other person already sold the job to them, and it's a matter of doing the interview. Don't skip anything, but do the interview, all the process. But usually these people have seen probably their checks and they know they're making good money. They've seen they probably bought a house, etc. And then that's a good sign for the other person to really come and put all the effort in your company. So that is basically step 7. Um, and let's see, and that's it. That's pretty much all the steps, guys, I have for you. I want to cover some questions that you might have. You can put them here on the chat, or you can email me on Facebook or join our Facebook group. So let's take a look here. Some questions. Uh, okay, a lot of people want the document, so we'll send your document, the pro of boarding document, the pre-boarding document. Excuse me. Uh, there's somebody says, is it legal to charge for the training fee? And in my state, it is. It's a deduction. That's why we have a document called wage reduction authorization. And obviously, this is per state, so you want to check with your lawyer and see if that's allowable. But her bottom line about this was, if you pay them the minimum hours or wages based on your state, that's perfectly fine. And when they read this in the document, this is a shocker to them. It's like, it makes them think harder if they want to continue, because like, oh, I could lose $250 if I quit within 90 days. So it makes them think, and it's a filter at that same time. So check with your lawyer, but in my state, it is. So um, somebody asked me if we will be selling the training videos. Yes, we will. We don't know the price yet, but the only thing I know, they're amazing. Uh, they're very well done, and I haven't seen quality training videos like these ones uh, in 17 years that I've been in this business. Why we decided to do them? Because obviously we think, you know, as the generation changes, we want to make sure that newer people coming into the business to clean our YouTube users. They watch videos for everything, and before we used to give them a book. It's like, read this book. They're not reading these books anymore. We need to show them in video how's done the training. So one of the good things that we did in these videos is to show them the right way and the wrong way. So if they're dusting a ceiling fan, you show them the right way and the wrong way. Because when you show them both things, they're like, oh yeah, they can identify what's exactly happening. So yes, this will be available in PipeHire. Uh, in next quarter. So we're editing now, and I'm excited to share with you, but I will let you know once they're out there. Um, what do you do with all the jobs, though? That's an issue a lot of us are having. Ashley, if you can expand more, what do you do with those jobs when people quit? Or can you explain more exactly, expand on your question so I can answer it? Um, about the flexibility, Liz Trotter, one of the coaches that I admire here, she mentions about flexibility, and yes, she offers something called a flex job, and the flex job means that they pick their own times and days to work and hours, and she has found good success with it. And I think it's kind of based on the culture sometimes of the city, the area. But I think we have to move towards a flexible schedule. Those that want to have that, but not, the way we're doing it now is we don't advertise it. We have our full-time job offer. If we see somebody that's starting to have absentee issues, we offer that. Like, look, we have this other way to work. You don't make as much money, but it's on your own time. But if you fail two times to this schedule that you picked, you're out. So it's not like they want to work anytime they want and do whatever they want. Obviously, it's based on the schedule they picked, but if they fail, they lose the job. So I think we offered a couple of ladies, but they say no. I want to make more money, so they stay with the full time. And some that were not doing or were not doing having a good attendance, they left because they were confronted of with this option. All right. Okay, Ashley, thank you for expanding on your question. So obviously, the reason you have to go back and clean is because you have a small crew. So if you have three people and you have to fire two, obviously it's a big deal. You lost 66% of your crew. You, in my opinion, or what I do is we have obviously in average 15 to 20 cleaners. So firing one doesn't hurt as much as when you have less than five people. So as you grow, you can fire people on the spot if you need to because you have other people. Now, how do you get there? This is kind of the chicken or the egg. How do you get there? If you're firing people, how do you grow? And the reality is that you grow by following this process, by hiring the right person, by monitoring the performance and retaining people. When you hit those things in the process, you're gonna eventually have people that stay longer. So eventually your employee count grows every month or stays flat but it's not decreasing. And then as you grow, you can make that decision of letting people go if you feel they're not a good fit anymore. But as I mentioned in the step of interviewing and screening, uh, you want to be very clear on the attendance policy right there on the spot. So you really want to enforce that, and when they know that very clear, and that's the only thing that matters, you're gonna have more people stick to the job because they were explained very well about that. So that's what happens. I want to see if there's any other questions. Let me check. Uh, all right. All right. So you guys, I don't know if you were aware, but we have our YouTube channel where we post, some great content. So you can look it up there on by searching, typing Piper, or we can follow us on Instagram as well. And I don't have any more questions from anyone here. So thank you guys. It's been amazing to share this with you. Pipehire is helping the fastest growing companies to hire and manage better. We believe cleaning companies deserve better products, better services to really grow. And this is an amazing business. We just have to be experts at hiring, onboarding, and training people, letting people go. We have to become, as I say, staffing companies that happen to clean houses. That's what they're paying us for. Customers are paying us to find people. So you're in the staffing business, you're not in the cleaning business. If you're great at doing this, you can grow any kind of business. And really, this is the cornerstone of the service businesses. So we'll catch you next. We're gonna do a last webinar this year, and it's gonna be on December the 16th. Uh, yeah, it's gonna be basically we're gonna have an invite and a guest come, and we're gonna talk about the future of hiring in 2022 and new systems and platforms that we're gonna be working together to make PipeHire a better system. So make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay on the loop because this is gonna change for the good. Thank you guys, and we hope to see you next time. Bye bye.